I need Link players to do it. No more Toon Link from this guy in this game. He is switching over to the tried and true.
I'm semi-upset with you because after you said Biddy, 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 you didn't say can't you see?
Oh, I did it the first time.
When?
You didn't hear me? I was singing that. I went, Biddy, 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 can't you see?
You're
Sometimes your bombs just
I could
really
actually
screw me.
verify. I could actually verify.
That's my boy. He knows.
All right, never mind. I'm getting sleepy.
Yo, you didn't hear? Yo, you watched the VOD back? I did it, dude.
My mic is not working. I swear it's definitely my headset.
Can't you see?
So we're going into game where we got Pikachu versus Young Link. This is going to be, this is actually going to be a pretty difficult time for Biddy because, normally Young Link thrives off of keeping characters out. And then once you commit too hard, you got that great combo game from down tilt and forward hit, first hit and fair. But, actually, no, it doesn't even matter because he's still playing the game exactly how he wants. Pikachu does a good job of zone breaking. Ooh, good anti-air. And almost evening this right back up with just 2 interactions.
Ooh, and there's a back air. Good tech from Biddy to put himself back in the situation. I think Dunston checking. That's just his Twitter handle right now. I think he expected him to roll towards the center stage to try and regain stage control himself. And I think Biddy saw that from a mile away and just decided to roll back. Just Dunston going up against our boy Biddy.
Yeah, and Dunston actually doing a very solid job bringing this back. It's usually very disheartening when you start off the match and you take such a big combo deficit. And going for the single hit fair to potentially go for a punish follow up afterwards, but doesn't get it in. Now we're at a dead mean %. Biddy needs to sell out the stock because Dunston looks like he's starting to really regain his footing.
Yeah, it's already it's a really even game for both these guys right now. No smash attack punish on the ending lag of that up B right there. Definitely a little hard to react to. But instead, he's just gonna lean a little bit back, try and get those arrows in, which can confirm into a forward air if he's close enough to it. Jumping out of the situation with the down B right there, which would have absolutely killed, spiked him into Pikachu himself. Up though, not gonna be able to do it either. Both these guys really slobbering right now to try and get this first.
Actually, as the match is progressing, I'm liking the way Dunston's playing. He's been opting to use landing nair, and they see right there before he set up the landing nair, stared it down and went for the grab. That time potentially looking for a down smash read on spot dodge. You have to continuously condition as Pikachu. You can get in, but it's how can you open them back up? And he's doing a really good job of it so far.
Yeah, you definitely want to throw out a couple empty hitboxes right there, try and bait him into doing something he doesn't want to do. One of the laggy options because those smash attacks are committal as that one is actually going to be able to take the stock right there. Good on Biddy to just wait and shield with that bomb, trying to capitalize off of it. And if that was Pichu, that would have killed. But my man here rocking the Pikachu instead. The original hotness, the original contender.
Yeah,
for best
the one that everybody
was
preaching was best in the game at first. But that's what happens when you, at the very first 2 weeks, are already trying to make tier lists to get people to pay attention to it. It's like, look.
I thought Meta Knight was going to be the best character in the game.
Yeah, where'd that go?
Exactly.
But as time progresses, we got patch 3.0 coming in afterwards. Almost getting confirmed off the bomb right there. Could have potentially taken that stock away, but 192%.
Yeah, that's a pretty high percent for a Young Link to be at. You shouldn't be here. And there he is. He's not there anymore. Forward air going to be able to take the stock. Even game for the most part. Only about 90% deficit.
Oh, luckily for Dunston too, it didn't seem like Biddy recognized the fact that he was going to be able to go after a potential up B on that situation there. But you know what? Being at 17% to 99, it's not that big a deal. It's like, all right, I'll just catch him on the next time that he jumps in a little bit too quick and get a potential anti-air.
I think Dunston tried to catch Biddy in a little bit of a back air reset right there, because instead of going for the true follow-up with the up air, he tried to read an air dodge or something with a back air to try and sink down and maybe reset the situation. Got a little more and get more off of it than he thought he would, but I think that was a little too risky at that percent. You don't want to let there's that down air is going to reset the situation right there. You don't want to let Young Link reset neutral when he has a stock, not a stock advantage, but a huge percent
advantage. He did a good job
that.
of stopping that neutral reset like you talked about. All that damage was relatively unanswered, but Biddy just going to center stage you know what, I'm just going to let this rip. I need to get you off of me. This is bad. And he was able to finally get the stock out. If Dunston can start to notice where the quick anticipation actions are coming in from Biddy, because Biddy's getting really quick to run away the moment the pressure gets too high and then he can't stop the damage, I think he can definitely see him steal the lead.
I think we can absolutely see that too, but right now you see Biddy just backing up, tossing all of these projectiles, that boomerang, that bomb, that neutral B, the arrows as well, because it's just the piece of the puzzle that Young Link likes to do. I want a bomb, then I want a boomerang, then I want a neutral B, and Dunston wants to up smash and take the stock and even it out.
Getting that nair into up smash we talked about before, just being able to consistently play off a nair, only taking 55%, but we're seeing Biddy play a little bit more aggressive now. He was playing, never mind, he's going back to keep away. But that last stock, he being up the stock lead is you know what, I'm playing with borrowed time here. I potentially might lose the stock with the way that Dunston is adding up. Let me just keep going in and getting trades, because that way, once I go to this next stock, he's much closer to kill percent than I am.
And I really love the platform coverage that Dunston is trying to put out here. He's going where he thinks Biddy is going to roll, but facing the opposite direction in case he rolls. He does that, of course, to like try and put out a forward air to the roll to read it when he not read it, to react to it when he has to, while still being in a position to cover the roll in the other direction. Which Pikachu, quick character that he is, with the new neutral air hitbox that he has in that former Mewtwo Nair, he's actually able to do that in a lot of situations. But Biddy, a little too smart for that. He's not going on the platform very often because he knows that Pikachu can trap him in those situations. Just stay true, held back to play his game, put the pieces of the puzzle together with the arrows, which can confirm into a forward air or an up B off of Biddy's aerials, and it is going to lead him to taking that first game right there. Biddy did a great job at playing his game in that match. In
the emergency order 66 of delete all DLC, they decided to take Mewtwo's Nair and replace it with the Pikachu, Butcher, Ryu, and all the ones. The only people who walked away safe was
Cloud.
Cloud and Roy, pretty much it. That's.
Oh yeah, Roy was DLC, wasn't he?
Yeah, Roy was DLC.
We never thunk it because he wasn't good.
Lucas is just there.
Dude, we never thunk it because he wasn't good. Whenever I hear DLC, I'm like tainted now. I'm just like, DLC, broken character.
Yep.
That's all it is now.
It's all
totally forgot Roy was not on the disc.
If you paid $5.99 in the last game, you got attacked going into this new one.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a much better buff for Pikachu going into this. The fact that Pikachu now can set up loops. The fact that Pikachu can now set up pressure on shield with cross-ups to bait out a lot of really quick options, particularly jumps. You get a lot of people who are too scared with a Pikachu next to you. It's like, I gotta get away. That's something that Biddy was doing a good job of dealing with, especially with Young Link's Nair.
Yeah.
But once Dunston started getting a hold of that, that's where the problems started really coming in. And if Biddy can't keep him off the way that Dunston was doing it the last game, it's going to be a bad time.
I think so, too. I mean, that's why I said, Biddy was honestly doing a really good job at playing his game. He wasn't going on the platform whenever he didn't have to because he knows that Pikachu just has so many, frame trap and coverage options on the Smashville platform right there. He did a really good job at just playing his own game and just being in the neutral. And Dunston, for the most part, wasn't doing that good of a job at breaking that defense. But like you said, once he finally did and he was able to get in, the punishes were big enough to the point where Dunston just pretty much barely lost that first game.
And you see that he's playing a lot
more. If any
adaptation
comes out from Dunston right now, I can definitely see him being able to take this game.
He's playing a lot more confident off stage too. He's not afraid to go down after Biddy, but Biddy is also, he's actually starting to adjust. He's recognized, okay, he's having a big issue with opening me up, approaching. Sure, he's staying on top of me, but I'm just gonna keep putting out these single hit nairs and just slowly rack up the damage. And there's nothing wrong with that. Play the long game because Pikachu let Dunston beat himself.
Just let me be myself. What a concept.
Beat himself.
Oh. I thought you said something completely different.
Just let me be myself.
Again.
All right. All right. So.
There we go. I'll sing to you later, I promise. Ooh, and the up air poke right there. Such a strong hitbox with the a strong attack, I should say, with the up air. Even if he was about 20% low, I have a feeling that would have almost, if not actually, just killed Pikachu outright. But here we go. Up B out of shield should be a follow-up into the back air right there, trying to attack onto it with the boomerang right there, which would have led to big meaty damage. But Dunston,
just covering those options with that
able to get out of it.
Just covering those options with that boomerang as well. Just all right, let me force where you're gonna go. That's one of those spots where you need to read where they're going next. It's all right, here's my information. And Dunston is reading everywhere he's going right now with that because he's hit him with a couple of these thunders, but he hasn't been able to get the meaty portion and connect it with Pikachu to get the kill.
And yeah, just as he's not able to do that, you just see Biddy slowly but surely tacking on this damage while he sits still very comfortably on his first stock. He is at 140, not anymore. That was a really good forward air. Placing it between a rock and a hard place right there, right below the ledge. Not too much Biddy could have done about that unless he saw it coming from away, which evidently he did not. And all of a sudden, this game is even yet again, while Dunston is actually getting a couple little pieces of his own to try and even this out both in percent and in stack.
And that's one of those spots we were talking about before. He's playing off stage a lot more comfortable. He decided to go down there and get that fair, set up a situation where Biddy had to go low. But Biddy doing a good job again, just walling him out, staying off to the right-hand side. And every time that Dunston's now choosing to approach, he's been hopping in, throwing out a nair or something, and then backing off. And now catching him with an anti-air as well. Dunston committing, but he actually answers with the right option because that lingering on that down air could have potentially took that stock away.
I was just about to say, there really aren't too many attacks that, unless you time it right, can really contest with that move, out of shield. It's pretty scary to be dealing with Young Link's down air out of shield because the move actually has a deceptively low amount of landing lag once he actually is able to land.
And it's such a long hitbox, active hitbox too. It's so strong. Last thing you want to do is overcommit there.
He dug deep again, going for the fair, but you saw Biddy that time went for it quickly, immediately snapped. Not trying to play that game. Doesn't die to up smash either.
I actually really like the falling forward air right there because Biddy recognized that the move has little enough lag to be able to get a nair before he lands on the stage. Because the move doesn't look like it. The move looks like it should have a lot of landing lag, but I mean not a lot of landing lag, a lot of ending lag, but it actually doesn't. And I think he recognized that that's the kind of move that looks like that, thinking that Dunston was going to approach, and he did. So once he mixed it up with that nair, he sort of mini frame chapped him in a little bit. Is that forward tilt, forward air, whatever it was? It's going to be.
It was a dash tech.
No, that's not even close.
Yeah, just jumping right. It's all good. That forward tilt and dash tech looks similar. But the fact that he just jumped at Dunston to bait him to go to center stage and punish him accordingly, it seems like Biddy's starting to reacclimate himself to the way that Dunston wants to not only approach, but where he wants to run away. And if Dunston can't change that up, it's going to be a bad time. But here's where he's been succeeding. He's been just throwing it out, and he conditioned him all the way across the last 3 times. He threw out the Thunder Jolts, he caught him with the tether, and that time it's like, okay, he's going to commit to this up B early. He does not want to trade, catching him with the down air.
Here we go, the Pikachu mix. That was 40 damage. You see that? Already tacked on. Now this deficit is relatively smaller there. Dunston almost has this in the palm of his hands. Another drag down, but Biddy DIing away, and Dunston SDing right where it mattered the most.
See, that's what we were talking about before with that last set. That is absolutely one of those times where you don't want to see that happen. Like, he was doing a good job of really regaining his ground. He was being much more confident off stage. And then on the last one where you potentially dug deep to try and put yourself on the board, USD, that's never what you want to see happen. So,
he was doing so well to bring that back. You saw those strings he was getting. He not only, his combo execution was not only way better than it was in the first game, especially towards the end of that second game, but he was landing them in the situations